Brain Orchestra is just an example of New Jersey, a product of New Jersey. And what you hear and what you see is me and what I learned and what I'm learning growing up, being from where I'm from, and basically that. Just an artist practicing and giving you him in forms of audio, like showing displaying me and what I know from where I'm from. You know what I mean? So.
What specific themes from what you learn are you trying to capture in the music?
Really just feelings and showing emotions in different ways with beats and rhymes, and also just being like sort of like a journalist, right? Like we see, we observe, and we give back. We show people what we see, what we observe, what we think about it. You know what I mean? And yeah.
So what was the beginning of your musical journey? And you're kind of unique in the fact that, well, I mean, a lot of people do this, but I would say like it's still something to make note of in the fact that not only do you produce, but you rap as well. So,
Yeah.
what was the beginning of your musical journey, and what came first? Was it the beats first, or was it the raps, or was it always both at the same time?
Well, technically, I started playing music in school, like you know what I mean, like just to get out of class. I've said it in a few times, few conversations. Like I would go and take a music class so I can like not do other shit. Like you know what I mean, like fucking. So, because I hated school, like I did well in school, but I just didn't like that shit. I didn't like the weird authority and all that other dumb shit going on. So to me, it's like I always like, yo, I started music like early, like just playing random instruments and doing random shit in school. And then I guess as far as rapping and beats, I was rapping first because like rap was just like a thing. Like growing up in Elizabeth, like we had rap in Jersey Club, and like we loved rap. You know what I mean? Everybody loved rap music. Like we was always listening to hip hop, rap music, and battle rappers, and so there was a big dance culture, a big rap culture from where I'm from. So even your random friend would rap. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was like that. Like everybody had bars, even if you you know what I mean? So I kind of started with the rhyming, and then slowly got into making beats, just fucking around with FL, making a bunch of dumb weird shit. But yeah, the rhyming definitely came first, and then shortly after was beats and stuff. So
Yeah. Gelato blunt twisted. You dumb bitches need a leash. Learn to sit when spoken to. Keep the potion mixed. The dough is stretched. My shorty stay sweet like soda. Blessed. Smoking the best in Saratoga. Who you know, bruh? Ayo, the illest on the mission. Lately, the kid drippy from the free clothes they send me. They try to apprehend me. But I dip in the Benzie and count 40/20s till my hand limpy.
That whole developmental process, how many years was that before you started feeling confident enough to actually release your own music?
I started releasing music at an early age with friends, like just doing random shit. Kind of like probably like 2012, 2013, probably before that actually. But yeah, like really releasing stuff like since like 2013, like putting it out with the intention like all right, like I'm trying to really like, you know what I mean, show people my shit and reach higher. Because before it was like we would put our shit on CDs and sell it and in school and you know shit like that, like local shows and stuff like that. Yeah, I was still a part of that. Even you know, I'm 27, but we were still a part of that. Like we went through that change of you know, like dial up to phone cell phones and you know shit like that. So before, you know, back then, you know, you wanted to just be like your favorite rapper, and that was like a far-fetched idea. So we just did the next best thing, like throw shows and sell CDs and shit like that. Yeah.
So who were you listening to at that time? Like who kind of influenced your style starting out?
Listening to like a lot of the Locks and Premier, like Guru and Premier, Gangstar shit, you know what I mean? De La, Ninth Wonder, fucking Heat Makers, you know what I'm saying? Shit like that, bro. Dipset, like as a whole. Like that's kind of what I was listening to. A lot, you know, and then the classic shit, Nas, Big L, you know what I mean? 3 6, like everybody. Like we were tapped into all that shit, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
I was kind of already like keen. Like by the time I got to making beats, I already kind of understood what a beat was supposed to do because I played a bunch of instruments. I understood like basic arrangement. And then like I rapped on tons of instrumentals on YouTube like before I made beats. So I just kind of understood it. Like I just was like, oh, okay, like drum sample. I wasn't that good, but you get what I'm saying? Like shit, that's all I was listening to really. Like, and a lot of like just rare 90s shit that would be on like YouTube, like instrumental wise, like, you know, because everything was pressed on vinyl. So a lot of people archived that shit. So just shit that you never heard of, a bunch of Lord Finesse beats you never heard of and stuff, shit like that, you know what I mean? Like,
And what you're kind of touching on, like that Dipset, Heat Makers, Arsonist era, like that was still kind of like in the peak of like the mixtape era. Because like I remember during that period of time, I'm a few years older than you. I'm 31, and so I remember like, you know, it was just like this one dude in my high school that had a CD burner, and everybody went to him to buy mixtapes off of him. He's like, he would like rip whatever off a LimeWire or something like BitTorrent or something like that. Yeah. I'd be like, yo, give me that new Papoose mixtape, man. I heard it was crazy. You know what I'm saying? And like that was such a dope era because it was so organic. Like how, because I'm from the South. I lived down in North Carolina, and so that's where I went to in high school was down here in North Carolina. So all the stuff from like the East Coast, always it took a while to trickle down here. But I always knew about like what was dope because of like like my New York connects, you know what I mean? Like dudes who would just burn CDs or whatever mixtape I was trying to get at the time. It was dope though.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fire. Yeah. Yeah, I was big on the LimeWire shit, especially with like Styles P and getting all them mixtapes. Like, yeah, bro, Wheezy. You know what I'm saying? Max B. Like, yeah, that shit was a wave for real.
That was just a different feeling, man, because it was like the process of music discovery was so different back then. It was like I said, it was just so much more organic, like how you found out about dope shit from somebody, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and word of mouth was crazy back then. Like that was still going on. Like it was a mix of digital and like word of mouth for real, yeah.
Yeah, because I mean you mentioned YouTube, and it was definitely YouTube as well. Like that's how I was watching rap battles, like the Murda Mook stuff and all that. But like it was like that plus Dat Piff and live mixtapes and everything else. And it was like the discovery, it was like a crossover between the two. Like you went to YouTube and you heard about this person, so you would see if they had a mixtape on Dat Piff or something like that. It was just an interesting, because I think I say all that now because like the process of music discovery now is so much, it's different. I'm not gonna say it's bad or anything. It's just different. You know what I mean? But it's so much more instantaneous now how you find music and like find out about somebody versus what it was back then. And there's pros and cons to
Yeah.
both approaches, but it's just it was real interesting back then for sure.
Yeah, nah, for that shit was crazy finding new music. Like, you know, that shit was crazy back then. It's like
Yeah.
you were dead ass feel like, oh, you ain't hear this shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you just
shit
caught
like
like a
that,
new
yeah.
throwback or something like ain't nobody seen before.
Yeah.
You know, you started off rhyming, so what made you want to even start making beats?
I just like that beats like gave you that feeling, you know what I mean? Like of like this is like if a beat sound like this and it strikes you, like it makes you feel a certain way. And I always liked that about beats. I always liked that it made you just feel a certain way, either happy, sad, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like there was like a power to that shit and it just sets the tone. So I think that's what I got interested in. It was like seeing how important it was in a song, really.
Yeah, because I noticed, like, I scanned through your Bandcamp, and I noticed for a stretch of time, I think it was like in 2015, you released your Love project. That was an instrumental project, and then subsequently after that, like for a few years, you were just banging out a lot of instrumental projects and stuff.
Yeah.
So were you still rhyming during that period of time, or were you taking a break from it and just like focusing on the beats for a while, or what was kind of your headspace during that period of time?
Yeah, I was definitely like not focused on writing. I didn't really like think about it, you know what I mean? But yeah, eventually, because the way I thought about it was like I wanted to make beats until I felt like, yo, like I hear a beat and I'm like, okay, like I could really write to this shit. Like I just wanted to get like my production value up and then get back into writing, honestly, because I wanted to like build a sound around what I wanted to make. And it took a while, but yeah. So I wasn't really focused on it at all. You know what I mean? I would bullshit freestyle with friends, but yeah.
So what was it that you were trying to aim for or capture during that time period as far as your sound was concerned to the point where you felt like it was time to start rhyming again?
Well, I felt like, you know, I was doing the beat shit for a while. I made like, you know, a bit of a name for myself within like that community and just a live performer kind of thing. You know what I mean? I was doing a lot of shows and putting out records, and I felt like the next step was making songs, you know, and I made songs with people. I produced shit with people even when I was exclusively producing, but never for myself. But I felt like that was the next step for me as an artist, like get back into writing because I love writing. And I figured I know my beats best, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's kind of just what got me back into it. Like it was just like, oh, I gotta switch it up. Like I'm doing these beat sets. I could be rhyming and doing beat sets, like, and just kind of giving my full idea out now. Cause it's like, you know, vocals, you know what I'm saying? So
Now in the present time, what percentage of your time is dedicated to producing versus writing, or is it kind of like, does it switch up all the time? And how often do you just experiment, just try new? Because I noticed on your Bandcamp as well, like you play with a lot of different sonics. Like it's not just like the sample and hard drums type stuff too. Like you're across the whole spectrum.
Thank you, man. Yeah, no, I have more of that type of shit. I just feel like um I make a lot of beats, like, you know what I mean? I'm a producer first in my head. Like, I like making beats, honestly, over writing. I love writing too, but if I had to choose, you know what I mean, I'd be making beats, to be honest with you. So I write when I'm just feeling it. Like when I do go through like spurts, but I'm always making beats. Like I'll write a verse, but like I'll write a verse like once or twice a week, but I'm probably making a beat a day sometimes, you know what I mean? I do take breaks though when I feel like I don't got nothing to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's healthy.
Or or if it's just not hitting. Yeah, I don't really pressure myself at all, to be completely honest with you. I make music when I want to, when I feel like I hear something or when it strikes me, like that's it. And same thing with writing, like when I'm making a beat and I'm like, oh shit, like this one sounded crazy, like, and I come up with a bar or something, then it just kind of comes about. But yeah, it kind of just fluctuates, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Mainly beats though. Mainly beats, like all the time. Like
I'm the same way. I think beat making for me / producing is one of my primary like therapeutic tools. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
if I'm just trying to like flush something out, if I'm just in a like weird headspace, like sometimes just like I might not even like complete a beat. It might just be me just like, fucking around on something, but like that within itself, that process is important for me.
Yeah,
same thing
nah, for sure. People. Yeah, I feel like beats I get to express myself more because I'm using multiple things to express what I'm doing, not just like one thing, you know what I mean? So.
Who would you say are your reference points from a producing standpoint and a rapping standpoint? Like, who influences your style the most?
Shit, man. As far as writing, like, like Styles for sure. Cameron, Ka, Rock Mars, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, I'm like, I don't know. I take so much inspiration because I could just be here all day, like, but like, my main inspirations definitely got to be like, yeah, like, like the greats like Biggie and Ghostface and shit and Redman and shit. Like those are the dudes that like inspire me on my writing tip. And Kai, you know what I mean? Like they all just kind of bundle up. I have like too many, honestly. Like if I were to pick one that like really makes sense to me with the way I'm doing my shit, it would be like Dilla, but not because I'm trying to compare myself to him, but it's just like I love that he had the duality of rapper and producer and he knew how to work on his shit. So I kind of aim for that, you know what I'm saying? So, he's like a prime example of what I like strive to be in a sense, you know what I mean? But then like as far as inspirations, it's like, too many to count. Like I just, the favorite shit, that shit is always so hard for me. Like, you know what I mean?
No, I feel that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense with what you're talking about. When you're talking about like being a producer first too, I mean, that very much touches on kind of like the Dilla approach. I mean, he was definitely like a producer first. He was definitely spitting. He could spit for sure. Like nobody's denying that. But like what makes him legendary is his production work. And that was always what his like main focus was. It seemed like from what I could tell and what I think a lot of people read the book and whatnot. It seemed like what he was always focused on.
Yeah, I got that book right here too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, man, it was a good book. Nah, yeah, it's how I feel. It's, I'd be lying if I said I wasn't super inspired by that. And obviously it's Dilla, he's the GOAT. But and I don't give a shit how cliche it is, but he just was that type of example, like, and there's plenty of them, you know what I mean? But he was like one that I was like, damn, like he really knew what to do on his own shit. And I like to portray that with my work.
And I think just to take that a step further too, just the comparison of like Dilla, Jay Dilla, like was very much not infatuated with um the current sound, the trendy sound at that point in time to whenever he was, before his time ended. Like, and I see that approach with you as well when it comes to your sound and how you go about creating. I mean, there's a lot of different things happening sonically, in 2022 right now. I mean, with the trap stuff, the drill stuff, the all the stuff that's happening right now in hip hop. What has you wanting to commit to that classic, like more classic boom bap sort of sound in light of what's going on right now?
It's really just like, it's like making it. I like how it makes me feel when I make it, when I, you know what I mean? And I have like a whole like side project of drill shit, and like just like I have so much shit. Like I'm a producer, you know what I mean? People be kind of sometimes like thinking like that's it, but it is my main occupation, like that sound, because I love it. It's what I grew up on. It's what showed me the way. So I do dabble in some other genres, and I've put out so much other shit, or I have shit that people have heard live or whatever. But yeah, it's just the way it makes me feel, and uh the constant like, showing people other music within within your music, excuse me. It's, you know what I mean? Like, cause that shit's an art form in itself. Like, and that doesn't go, cause a regular motherfucker would look at me and be like, oh, he's making this. Like, he don't fuck with, you know what I mean? And that's never the case, honestly. I fuck with like everything. So I like to, yeah, I like to stay in my realm because it's what I know and what I love. But yeah, I still dabble in the other shit too. But it's just like, it never gets old. Shit never gets old. Like,
It's classic.
yeah, it's classic. It's just a classic feel. And then the thing is that there's a lot of it now. But like, I think because me and a few others came up like in the early SoundCloud era, before it was this like, before lo-fi was like some fucking gentrified shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, respectfully, like we were on that shit. Like we were the young guys putting that sound back out. And there's a reason why we have that feel. Like there's a foundation to it, and then it's about applying like your shit. And I think I was always fascinated with that, like how Madlib had his sound, Ninth has his sound, Pete Rock got his shit. Like when it's a Pete Rock joint, you know what I'm saying? Know when it's a Madlib joint. And we're all in the same realm. So it just goes to show that it's like the same with everything. Like the genre is ever expanding with people experimenting and continuing to reshape the wheel and shit. So that's what really keeps me fascinated with it and continuing to do that mainly, you know what I'm saying?
Dope, man. Did you have opportunity to tell them about your music?
Yeah, I mean Friday, that Friday we met, we were just talking about records and shit like that and all this other shit because came back from Japan, so we were just like talking about records. And then Sunday, um, we got to chop it up a little more, chill a little bit more, and yeah, it's, you know what I mean. We swapped the email and Twitter shit, you know what I mean. And I sent him some joints. Like right now, he's in a rollout with Rock, so I'm not really expecting him to, like, you know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah,
check
yeah.
that shit out. But yeah, man, he was super cool. You know what I'm saying? For anybody that listens, you know, Alka's definitely the OG. And I expressed that too, you know what I'm saying? His inspiration and shit like that. And he's a very cool dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he don't really got a reason not to be, like, to be honest with you. So,
And he's another
cool
prime
dude.
example of someone who's just committed to a sound and never wavered from it. And
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, he's like a huge inspiration how he continues to put his sound out in his way. You know what I mean? And it continues to stand the test of time and shit. So,
I mean, art in a lot of ways, there's just kind of like ebbs and flows to it, right? Like there's times in which like
hmm
a particular type of sound is like super popular, and then it kind of dips in popularity a little bit, and it kind of goes in waves like that. But there are a lot of people who, I mean, I think about Ninth Wonder, like he's another example of that. I mean, even people outside like the boom bap thing, like think about an artist like Currency or someone, you
yeah,
know, who has just always kind of stood in his lane and never wavered from that, and has always seen success from that,
yeah.
whether like a lot or, you know, a moderate amount, but he's always kind of been steady. And I think there's a lot of like value in that, and not just trying to like trend hop all the time.
Nah, yeah, for sure. It's sticking to your guns, you know, and that doesn't. Yeah, I think that shit don't make it better or worse. You know, I think that's what people need to understand, right? Like, if someone likes making something and that's what they want to do, then that's just what they're gonna do. Like, and examples like Currency and shit like that are reasons why I like making what I make and it works out. You know, I feel like it works out for anybody if you put it out there, you know, with that intention. Yo, I'm making good art. This is me. This is what I like. People are gonna gravitate to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lane for everything. So even with that, like the ups and downs of the game or whatever fucking people want to call it, like there's always a pocket for people. You know, like
I think we need to
so.
like reframe what success looks like for people in music too, because people think like if you're not signing a deal with Def Jam or, you know,
Yeah,
got 10
yeah.
million views on a video or something, that you're not a successful artist. And there's
Yeah, I've
so
been in
many.
tons of shit. Yeah, bro.
No, go ahead.
Saying no, it's like I've been in tons of conversations like that in studios and just seeing people like, oh, you only got 5,000 followers, like, oh, okay, like, oh, you don't got that many views on you, like, it's just like, all right, bro, like, man, it's like y'all focused on the wrong shit.
I'm telling you, man, because like those artists who have that big spike right now, I mean, back to that prior point, like you might be riding a big wave right now, but if that sound or that style or that approach or whatever, you know, starts to lose popularity, and you're not really convicted about it, or you're not really committed to it, like
Yeah,
you're gonna end up like neglecting your fan base the moment you try to like hop on the next trend or whatever because it's popular, not because you actually enjoy that sound. I think the bottom line is like you got to stick with whatever you actually genuinely enjoy creating. And I mean, that could be multiple styles. It's not even about
yeah,
committing to just one thing. I don't believe in like boxing somebody in or anything
yeah,
like that. But it's just like do what you authentically enjoy, you know?
yeah, and I think, you know, and people don't get it, like there's a reason why, like, Travis Scott, ASAP Rocky, like, these people are who they are because they were making the music that they wanted to make the way they wanted to, and it just so happened that they popped. You feel what I'm saying? And that doesn't mean that everybody needs to sound like him, Playboy Cardi, like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just to name like the main people that are running that have major influence, you know, on like today's sound and like the I guess the pop era, the pop, you know what I mean, the pop side of all this shit. But yeah, it's like I never wanted that. I always told myself that, like, I never wanted to be some overnight success story because that shit's not wavy. You know what I mean? That shit comes and goes. Like,
It's
you
not
know, you give
sustainable.
people, Yeah, it's not sustainable. Like, and then that's where the psychological shit comes in, because it's like, then you got to work, you got to take the long road. You know what I mean? And that shit, there's times where it's like, damn, you don't know what you're doing or what's going to come of it. But I think it's all like just a psychological test of, you know, creative endurance. How far can you take what you like and make something out of it? You know, like, I think
Takes a
that's
lot
the
of
important
conviction,
part.
man.
Yeah, trust me,
Takes a
man.
lot.
I already know. To this day, you know, I'm just like everybody else. Like, we all think about the same shit. Like, but you can't manifest that shit. You just gotta think about, you know, how it actually is impacting and shit, you know? Mm-hmm.
I did detect, like, through your body of work and through a lot of your projects, so like a lot of spiritual themes and a lot of things that you kind of touch on, just even with the names of and titles of certain projects and titles of songs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that, how important is that aspect to your creative process and just your overall kind of worldview?
I think it's just like, because if I'm doing beats, like, I kind of name the beat just like how it makes me feel, or the space it puts me in, you know what I mean? And then same thing with the titles. Like, I want you to feel like you're in a space listening to this, like a atmosphere, you know what I mean? A theme or whatever the case is. Like, so I think it's important, like, with titling tracks, like, I don't think about it like hard body, but you know, it's important to make sure that if they read a song, like, I want people to read a song and be like, oh, I get what he's doing here. You know what I mean? Like, read a song title or like a album title or whatever, you know?
Well, yeah, I think that's part of the point is, you know, with like spirituality and spiritual themes and things of that sort, where it's not overthought. That's the point of it. It's like you're not in your super in your head about it whenever you're creating. You're just creating from that emotion, from that feeling, and just letting that translate how it's supposed to. But I think, like, just to take it a little bit deeper, I think, like, back to the point about how kind of the arc of a career happens and how certain people find success in their art. I think it's when they're not overthinking it. I think it's when they're just
Yeah.
doing it for the love, and then you happen to link with your partners down in Amsterdam, and then you just happen to run into somebody super influential and swapping emails. Like, none of that was overthought or planned out. It just happened. Because that's just how the
Yeah,
universe
it's
kind of
going
works.
with the flow. Yeah, I think, yeah, artists don't get that. You know, a lot of artists don't get that. They think that something's going to just, you know, you putting yourself in a certain position is going to, or how do you say, it's like, yeah, like, you can't overthink the process. Yeah, just kind of things just happen. You don't know who you're going to meet, who you're going to talk to. And once you start, like, trying to calculate all that shit, it just becomes like, it's not fun, you know? And things could come out of it. You know, a lot comes out of that type of action. I've seen it where people go above and beyond and do all this extra shit, but then they end up being in the position they want to be in. But it's a different feeling when you're like, yeah, when you just meet somebody outside of, you know, it's not like I met Alk or some of these dudes like in a studio and it was like some dude like, yo, this is my young homie. Like, you know, that's cool too, but I'd rather it be organic. You know, the life's all about that, like having organic things happen, good and bad. So it's like with the music shit, that's just how it works. You just got to put the work in and things just happen. And the things that you want to happen will always happen. They just don't happen the way you want it to. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, and if you force that, that's kind of what I was trying to say. If you force that, that's when things get dicey, you know, because, you know, there's been times where I achieve a goal in a way where I'm like, I'll have to sit back and be like, oh, shit, I was just thinking about this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know it was gonna happen like that, you know. So, yeah.
And it's always better when it happens that way because I mean you're right. Like you can go and try to force it and set all these plays and whatnot, and stuff can, and results can come from that for sure.
Yeah,
like I've
yeah,
seen it
for
happen
sure.
as well. But it's like it's not as enjoyable because you're using so much force and it takes so much energy out of you in order to do that versus just letting
Yeah.
it flow. It's just the icing on the cake.
Nah, seriously. I mean, I've done that before. You know, I've stressed a situation and made something happen. It's just not fun. You know, you just want to make things just be. You gotta let things just be. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's, you know, like yeah, it's the best way when it happens that way because it's a constant reminder of how things could just happen, and you just got to be prepared. Like, you don't know what it's going to be and when it's going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? So it just constantly reminds you to just be prepared for that next step. Because, you know,
Facts.
there's never a timeline to this shit. You know, people think it's like, oh, you're 35, you got to stop rapping. Like, you know what I mean? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, this would be dumb shit like that. It's like, bro, you know, we just got to take our time.
Imagine if
with this
West
shit.
Side Gun and Conway and Benny all just said, you know what, I'm gonna hang it up, man. Like we getting up there in age. Like this ain't
Yeah. Seriously, they're the best. They're one of the best examples of that shit. You know, now people can't say nothing. Like, because there's a huge Exhibit A that exists that's not like Jay-Z and Nas and no, these are dudes that popped when they were older. And they're not even that old, you know. It's like, not to like disrespect them or anything like that, but you know, they're much older within the eyes of the hip hop community. Oh, you're 35. You're like, I mean, you're 40. Like, so what are people supposed to do? Is there like, why, you know, and that's a consumer thing too, and just an ignorant artist thing. You know, people put a timeline for no reason on, like, you know, you have a shelf life as an artist. Like, what? You know what I mean? The best artists are past their 50s. You know what I mean?
What's next for you, man? What do you want people to know? What you got going
on? New project coming out before the year is done with a very special distribution coming. I can't announce it. I'm gonna announce it in like a week or two though. So, but yeah, got another rap project coming out. A bit shorter than Big Brain, but I figured I got hit up by some good people and was like, okay, like I could put something together. You know, I got some shit, so wanted to end the year with another rap project, you know. And then yeah, we went on tour again too in Europe. So we're gonna let y'all know what's good with that once them dates are locked in. But November, that's all I'm gonna say, November.